show sympathy to conservatives that have none.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see, so why the hell, frankly, Destiny,
absolutely not.
why the hell should we listen to a word you have to say about...
Why do you think...
All right, into this video, friends, we're going to listen to Piers Morgan here, and this is after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's, and he has this guy, his name is Destiny, a political commentator. From what I hear, it is very famous as far as the online space is concerned. This man is going to say a number of things, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, do you have a soul? Like, do you even have a heart? Is it beeping? Do you see humanity as human? Do you? I have so many questions about this guy because I'm like, you cannot be this hatred, and you can't be this bad. And first of all, I want to say this is not to say both left and right or innocent, or I will say both are guilty, right? One more guilty than the others. But the point of the matter is, when we're dealing with humanity, being a Christian, I've come to realize you have to think of each individual on a case-to-case basis. He's not able to rightly condemn the assassination attempt that happened to Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, he glorifies it. And I thought to myself, like, oh, you that bad? Why do we tolerate people like this? Like, anyway, let me not rant right now, but let me sit back and try to get through this. Oh, my Lord. By the way, if you like this video, like and subscribe to the page if you enjoy the content. Let's get to this thing.
And I want to go through what you said, and I want to talk to you about this hopefully in a calm manner to try and understand what you were thinking. So on Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry. And the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation, is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every single day he was on the radio. You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government was trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th. They say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is...
He's contradicting himself. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go and kill anybody. But yet I would not condemn the very act of trying to assassinate the president. Let's just blame conservatives for it. You can blame conservatives for a lot of things that they've done wrong, right? But you cannot justify the person who went and tried to assassinate the president. That's just both is wrong. You just have to have the humanity to condemn both, and you have to look at human beings as human beings. I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. You can't sit here and try to justify that. This guy is completely out of control. Like, and he's trying to overlap these different theories to justify why he said the things that he says. But what you're seeing here is a person who's completely deranged.
Absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed, and yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it.
Exactly.
People celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people you've just spent the last 2 minutes?
Exactly. I mean, he just called out the double standard. You're a despicable human being. Like, if you actually don't have the heart, because you're not showing that you're any better than the people that you're criticizing, because you're showing that you're actually worse than they are. Because if you're gonna raise the standard and say, look, this is what they've done. They've done this, and then we're doing the same thing. I'm saying it's like the pot calling the kettle black. Like you don't have a real standard here by which you can judge anybody, because you're showing that you're a despicable human being. If you don't even have the heart to say, yo, this was wrong, this was evil, like period. Similar to what happened in October 7th, 2023, when what happened to Israel. Like a lot of people could not condemn Hamas. They were afraid of condemning Hamas. Why were you afraid of condemning Hamas? It was wrong what the people did. You don't have to agree with Israel going out there and do what they're doing, but you couldn't condemn the people who actually did that. Like, come on now. Like, you justifying them and you're saying, well, they did it because of the following reasons. Like, you can't justify wickedness. You cannot justify evildoers. You can't do that. Like, the moment you do that, you open a can of worms that it's almost like anything else could be justifiable. You have to be able to cut evil out from the moment you see it. If you don't do that, like you can give reasons for doing all kind of evil things. But this guy is crazy, man.
Minutes haranguing.
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th,
violence.
that was
That's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied.
Actually, they have. There's a lot of people, a lot of conservatives who have. There's a part of January 6th that wasn't good. But a lot of what is being condemned, some of them were innocent people too. So it's kind of complicated a little bit. This is not black and white as he wishes it was. But yeah, not the right application. But nevertheless, let him chatter. He keeps going at it.
There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy.
No, it's not a conservative thing. You have to look at humanity on a base level. Does Donald Trump deserve that? Right? You can have a conservative perspective about it. Like, for example, I may not agree with a person's view or religious position, but I would never wish death on you. That's another extreme. Like he's not separating. He's doing that group mentality kind of thing. You have to separate people from the group. Like, even though you may not like what the group is promoting, you may disagree with the conservatives, right? But you have to look at Donald Trump as a human being. Like, you have to value his personhood. And once you do that, then you are able to identify the problems for what it is. And then you can then sympathize with the fact that this was done. And you can condemn the evildoers who actually went out to do that. That's just what it is. So the fact that politicized this discussion is even more repulsive to me. It doesn't have to be political. It's just like right and wrong. This is what's happening here.
It's so simple.
I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy. Fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
Wow. If there was really something called cancel culture, that's a person I would say, yeah, he should be canceled. Like, I'm not for cancel culture. But that right there, that mentality right there, that's extreme. That's like, that's beyond normal. Like, the man lost his life. Like, you can't even value his humanity. Like, your political rhetoric and divisiveness and delusion is so bad that you would rather see a father, you give him the F-bomb instead of saying, wow, he should not have died. That's not right. Like, and again, that right there is very atheistic. When I've listened to him, I realize he has no Christian values at all. When you talk to him, you notice he promotes LGBT, he promotes the gays and the lesbians. He even thinks that women who are on OnlyFans that are selling their bodies for money, he thinks that's a good thing. So this person has no moral. He has no morals whatsoever, and it's a sad thing because I don't like to point out, but he represents a class of people. That's the idea. And if you are in that perspective, I will say you need to repent. You really have a very negative view of reality, and your humanity is completely disarrayed. You need the love of Christ. You like grace. You like mercy. You don't have the gentleness of Jesus. You are demonically possessed.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive. Destiny.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I wish that there is no room. There is no room for the hand wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
Oh, it's not hand wringing.
The hand wringing. No,
not
it
hand wringing.
absolutely is.
No, it's just that
Jen just
you are
called you out on
positioning
it
yourself.
So well.
No, but Destiny, let me explain to you.
Where conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a conservative.
They can have any conspiracy theory.
I'm not a conservative.
They can have any plot. They can do anything, and then liberals are supposed to sit here and be like, "Oh my God, it's so tragic."
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Absolutely.
Let me explain my position because I'm not a conservative. I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing. Yeah, exactly. You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry, that makes you, frankly, despicable.
Yes, he is.
I don't think I'm gleeful about anything. I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But you want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response to Pelosi's husband when they broke in.
I can answer that.
Mainstream media figures
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature.
Well, yeah, you could say that was wrong. Conservative made fun of this and things like that. But they never wish. I don't hear too many conservative wishing death. I don't think I mean, there was some people making fun. That's wrong. But it's not exactly the same thing, though. Like, you're talking about the former president who is most likely going to be the next president. Like, that's not the same thing, bro. Like, imagine if Trump had actually died. What if he had passed away? Like, there would have been a serious civil war in the country. Like, why would you glorify that? Like, why would you think this is a good thing? Like, in the country in which you live, like, unless you are really twisted. But golly, this guy is insufferable. It's hard to listen to him. I can't listen to this guy.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years, and now when something happens to them, now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side. Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged that you can conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
Why should anybody on the right listen to a word of your hectoring and lecturing about how they should behave? And by the way, for the record, the mockery of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked by an intruder with a hammer was also despicable, right? I can see despicable behavior on all sides, and I'm happy to call it out when I see it. You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane behavior. Fuck him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the
Exactly. But I know he's not going to listen to anything Piers Morgan just told him. He's just going to go into his rant.
Who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids is not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States. I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
18 million people voted for Donald Trump last time round.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again. I mean, like, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
you don't like attacks on.
That's not exactly a fact. Like, he never actually called for it. Not in a way that you're describing. How are you calling for an insurrection? Nobody there had a weapon to take over the government. Like, that's just nonsense. Like, the fact he keeps saying this, despite the fact no courts have actually found him guilty of this, He keeps saying this. It goes to show this is his brain on MSNBC. This is not a person who's thinking for himself either.
Attacks on democracy. So presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy of modern times. Presumably,
I don't think that
you will
anybody
take
should
this
be
opportunity,
trying to-
given you
I
are
don't
so
think anybody-
determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous
No, I'm
that Donald
asking
Trump
you.
attempted to coup the government,
I'm asking
then,
you.
then maybe I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't. I won't.
You can't do that. You see,
Not
so
even-
why the hell,
Absolutely
frankly,
not.
Destiny,
Absolutely not.
why the
Absolutely
hell
not.
should we listen to
Absolutely
a
not.
word you have to say
Wait, hold
about...
on. Why do you think conservatives haven't been listening to a word that liberals have said about anything for 8 years?
Right,
What do you
but
think
why
is going to
should
change?
they?
You think
But
that if
here's my
liberals
point,
come out now
Destiny.
and they go, "Oh my God, this was so horrible,"
But
you
here's
think
my
they're going
point.
to go, "Wow, that is true." Maybe
Wait a
that
second.
should also like
Charlie,
turn the rhetoric down a
Charlie,
little
I'll bring you in at the end of this. I promise you, and you'll get a good chance to respond. But here's my problem, Destiny, with your whole position on this, right? Is that you don't actually have anything inside you that you want the other side to have.
Period. Like, he's preaching a message that he's not practicing. Like, that's all. Like, you're not any more better person than the people you're condemning. Like, so, bro, you might as well be quiet. Like, you don't have a standard. You have zero standard by which you can judge anybody if you don't have the ability to call out evil for what it is. So, be quiet.
You don't have any of the empathy. You don't have any sympathy. You don't care that someone tried to assassinate
I'm not
Donald Trump.
asking for
You don't
empathy
care
and
that a young
sympathy. You don't-
fireman
you
with a
don't need any
family
of that.
was
I'm not
killed in the
asking for that.
process. You don't
Just don't
actually.
support an
You are not
insurrectionist.
the person you want these other people to be, and all you do is play whataboutery with every question I give you. And I'm just startled.
It's
that
not
some-
what about it. We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the temperature of this country. But here's a question for the two panelists. What percentage of this event happening was due to Donald Trump's rhetoric? What do they think the answer to that question is?
What percent?
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. This, largely, the people responsible for this will be the media. The media has fueled the flame of radicalism in this country more than anything. Trump might be divisive. He might have said things that are not friendly. You can say, yeah, he took some blame for this. But, yo, let's be honest. Like, at this time, it's not even a good time to even be asking that kind of silly question. Like, the media has done more of a damage to the mind of people than, and Destiny has suffered. We could obviously tell that he is definitely a product of mainstream media because his thinking is very much along that line.
Percentage could it be that the other side, as we've just heard from Dave Rubin, has spent 8 years calling Donald Trump the new Adolf Hitler, a person who was responsible for the murder of 12 million people, including 6 million Jewish people in a Holocaust? Last time I checked, Donald Trump hasn't murdered 12 million people.
Exactly.
So much as you would like him to be the new Hitler, he's not. But again, to an impressionable young deranged mind who has easy access to guns, that can be easily interpreted as an existential threat, said President Biden. Somebody that needs to be put in the bullseye, said Biden.
Okay,
Only last
I'm
week.
curious.
And
Who
guess
do you
what?
think- who
Guess
do you
what?
think- who do
Somebody
you
then
think is
comes
engaged in
forward
more
and
divisive-
tries to
who
kill
is
the
engaged in more
existential
divisive
threat.
rhetoric? Who is engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage.
This guy is he's going around in circle, and I think it's best we end this video. Right here, what you're listening to is the individual, is the mindset of a person who doesn't know Jesus. Is the mindset of a person who lacks grace. The mindset of a man who doesn't know how to differentiate between good and evil. He has no standard. This is a bad case of a person whose brain he's been brainwashed by the mainstream media, and his hatred for conservative is so deep to the point that he has no compassion even for an individual. Like, for me, I may not like your politics, but I will never wish death on you. I may not like what you stand for, but I will fight for you. You know why? Because your value is bigger than your politics. Your value is being determined by God. You were created by God. You were made in his image. I may not agree with some decisions you're making. I will oppose and vote against some things you might be doing especially when it contradicts my faith and my values in this country. But I will definitely fight for your life. I will fight for your peace. I will stand for your family. I will wish the best for your children. Because at the end of the day, we are family. We are family. Like the politics stuff comes into play. It has its purpose. But really, like, we are children of God. We were created by Him, and we were created to love each other. Like, we don't have to love everything about one another, but the stuff He is talking about, what you're seeing here is the attitude of a man who doesn't have the grace of God on his heart. And that is a sad case. That is one of the worst things I've seen in a long time. Like, I don't believe in a cancel culture, but if somebody want to cancel anybody, this guy will be the person you want to cancel. Because that's, he deserves to be canceled. But again, we have to deal with people like that. It's just difficult to watch. Anyway, friends, much more could be said. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this man? Kali, how do you feel about this man? Share your thought and perspective with me. I would like to hear from you. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. I think Piers Morgan addressed him very well, and the rest of the panel was being very nice to him. But this man needs help. He needs serious help. All right, friends. Have a good one. Bye.